is David Carter, and I'm a search and rescue volunteer. I've spent 15 years pulling lost hikers out of the wilderness. 15 years of broken bones, hypothermia, dehydration. I've found people who'd been missing for days, and I've found people who didn't make it. But in all those years, I thought I'd seen everything the wilderness could throw at me. I was wrong, because I'd never encountered anything like the Whispering Pines until last October. The Whispering Pines is a forest in the Pacific Northwest, about 60 miles from the nearest town. It's not on most hiking maps. The locals don't talk about it. When they do, they call it other names. The Silent Woods, the Bone Forest, the place where compasses die. I should have listened to the warnings. It started with a missing person report. Thomas Reed, 34 years old, experienced outdoorsman. He'd gone into the Whispering Pines 3 days earlier and never came out. His wife was frantic when she came to us. "He knows those woods," she said, tears streaming down her face. "He's been hiking for 20 years. Something's wrong. I can feel it." Our team assembled at dawn. 6 of us, all experienced. Marcus, our team leader. Sarah, who'd been doing this for 10 years. Jake, young but skilled. 2 others, Tom and Rachel, and me. We had GPS devices, radios, emergency supplies. We were prepared for anything, or so we thought. The trailhead was overgrown when we arrived. No Park Service signs, no trail markers, just a narrow dirt path disappearing into dense pine trees. The forest looked wrong, even from the outside. The trees were too close together, the canopy too thick, like the forest was deliberately hiding what lay inside. "Weird," Marcus muttered. "Forest Service should maintain this." "They don't," said a voice behind us. We turned. An old man stood there, leaning heavily on a walking stick. He must have been 80, maybe older. His eyes were sharp, alert, watching us with an expression I couldn't quite read. "You're going in there to find that hiker," he said. Not a question, a statement. "Yes, sir," Marcus replied. "Have you seen him?" The old man shook his head slowly. "I see them all, the ones who go in." He paused, his gaze drifting to the dark tree line. "I don't see many come out." "How many go missing?" I asked. He looked at me with those sharp eyes. "Officially, none. Because officially, nobody goes in there. The government closed it in 1987. Too many incidents." "What kind of incidents?" The old man's face darkened. "The kind that don't make the news." He tapped his walking stick on the ground. "That forest isn't right. Hasn't been right since the logging accident." "What accident?" Sarah asked. The old man sighed, as if the memory itself was heavy. 1952. Logging company was clear-cutting deep in those woods. They found something. He paused, choosing his words carefully. A grove of trees growing in a perfect circle around a stone altar. Old, real old. Native tribes wouldn't go near it, said it was cursed ground. But the company didn't care. They cut it down anyway. Another pause. His hands tightened on his walking stick. 18 loggers working that day. By sunset, all of them were dead. The air seemed to get colder around us. Some hanged themselves from trees. Some walked into the forest and vanished. 3 slit their own throats. Only 1 survived, and he went insane. Spent the rest of his life in an asylum, drawing the same symbol over and over. The symbol from that altar. "What symbol?" Marcus asked, though I could hear the uncertainty in his voice now. "Spiral, always spiraling inward, never ending." The old man looked back at the forest. After that, strange things started happening. Hikers would go in and come out different. Some didn't come out at all. Compasses spin, electronics fail. Time moves wrong in there. "Wrong how?" I asked. "People go in for what feels like hours, come out days later, or go in for what feels like days, and no time has passed at all." He locked eyes with Marcus. "And the voices. Everyone who goes in hears the voices. What do they say?" The old man smiled, but there was no humor in it, no warmth, just a sad, knowing look. things about yourself that nobody should know." He turned to leave, then stopped. "One more thing. If you see spiral carvings in the trees, turn back immediately. That means you've reached the old grove. What was cut down is trying to grow back." He paused, "And it's hungry." We watched him walk away, his words hanging in the air like a warning we should have heeded. "Crazy old man," Marcus muttered, but I noticed his hand was shaking as he checked his GPS. We entered the forest at 8 a.m. The moment we crossed the tree line, something felt wrong. The temperature dropped. Not much, just enough to notice, just enough to make the hair on the back of my neck stand up. By 8:30, everything went wrong. The GPS stopped working first, all of them simultaneously, just spinning, searching for satellites that should have been right overhead. "No problem," Marcus said, pulling out a compass. "We'll navigate old school." But the compass needle spun lazily in circles, never settling on north, never pointing anywhere, just spinning and spinning. "Equipment malfunction," Marcus insisted. "We keep going, stay together." We pushed deeper into the forest. The trees were wrong. I don't know how else to describe it. They were pine trees, normal pine trees, but they grew at odd angles, some bent toward each other, branches intertwining like clasped fingers, like they were reaching for something, or holding something in. Others spiraled as they grew, trunks twisted into unnatural shapes, like they'd been tortured as they reached for the sky, and it was too quiet. No birds, no insects, no wind rustling through the branches, just our footsteps on the forest floor, our breathing, and something else, something I couldn't quite place, a feeling like we were being watched. "Whisper, David," Sarah whispered, her voice barely audible. "Do you hear that?" I stopped, held my breath, listened. At first, nothing. Then, so faint I almost missed it, a sound, whispering, multiple voices overlapping, too distant to make out words, like standing outside a crowded room and hearing the murmur of conversation through the walls. "Just wind through the trees," Marcus said, but his voice lacked conviction, and we all knew there was no wind. We found the first body at 10 a.m., a man, maybe 40 years old, hanging from a tree branch. His face was purple, tongue protruding. He'd been dead for weeks, maybe months. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was his hands. They were covered in deep scratches, some down to the bone. His fingernails were bloody, broken. He'd clawed at himself before he died, clawed at his own arms, his own face, his own neck, like he was trying to tear something off of himself, something we couldn't see. "Jesus Christ," Marcus breathed. "Call it in." We tried the radios. Static. Nothing but static on every frequency. Sarah examined the body more closely. "Look at his neck. The rope marks are wrong." We looked. She was right. The bruising pattern didn't match a hanging. It looked like he'd been strangled by hands, not rope. But the rope was the only thing holding him up. "He was dead before he was hung," Sarah said quietly. A chill ran down my spine. "We need to leave," I said. "Right now." "We have a missing person to find," Marcus insisted. "Thomas Reed is out here somewhere." "Thomas Reed is probably dead," I shot back. "We should..." "Look," Jake interrupted, pointing. He was pointing at a tree about 20 feet away. Carved into the bark, crude but unmistakable, was a spiral. Then we saw another, and another, all around us, spirals carved into trees, some old and weathered, some fresh, bark still weeping sap. "We've reached it," I whispered. "The old grove." The whispering grew louder. Now I could almost make out words. My name. Whisper. "David, David, come closer. We've been waiting." "Do you hear that?" I asked the others. They nodded, faces pale. "It knows our names," Sarah said, her voice shaking. That's when we saw the clearing, a perfect circle of trees just like the old man described. In the center, partially buried in moss and dead leaves, was a stone altar, ancient, weathered, covered in symbols I didn't recognize. And on the altar sat a man, Thomas Reed. He was alive, sitting cross-legged, hands hands resting on his knees, staring at nothing. His eyes were open but unfocused, empty. "Thomas," Marcus shouted, running forward. "Wait," I grabbed at him, but it was too late. Marcus entered the circle. The moment his foot crossed the threshold, the whispering stopped. Complete silence, absolute silence, more terrifying than any sound. Thomas's head turned slowly toward Marcus, not his whole body, just his head. Turning, until he was looking directly at Marcus, and his mouth opened. Multiple voices speaking as one. "You shouldn't have come here," he said. But it wasn't his voice. It was multiple voices speaking in unison. Old voices, young voices, men and women, all speaking through Thomas's mouth. "The forest is hungry. It's always hungry." Marcus stopped dead in his tracks, 10 feet from the altar. "Thomas, we're here to rescue you. Your wife sent us." Thomas smiled. It was the most horrible smile I've ever seen. Multiple voices. "I don't have a wife. I've been here for centuries. We all have." "He's in shock," Sarah said from beside me. "Delusional from exposure." "I'm not Thomas," the thing wearing Thomas's face said. Multiple voices. "Thomas fed the forest 3 days ago. I'm what's left. I'm what grows here now." Behind Thomas, the trees began to move, not swaying in wind, moving. Branches reaching down like arms, roots pulling from the earth like legs. And between the trees, figures emerged. People, dozens of them, some in modern hiking clothes, North Face jackets, REI backpacks, some in old flannel work shirts and jeans from decades past, some in clothes so rotted I couldn't identify the era, all of them with the same empty, unfocused eyes, all of them smiling that horrible smile. "Whisper. Run," I whispered, my voice barely working, my legs frozen, my mind screaming at me to move, shouting, "Run!" I finally screamed. The spell broke. We ran. Behind us, the forest came alive. Trees bent and swayed, branches grabbing at us like hands. The whispers returned, louder now, no longer distant, right in our ears, screaming our names. Multiple whispers overlapping, urgent, desperate. "David, don't leave! Stay with us, forever! Sarah, Jake, come back! We're waiting! We've always been waiting!" I saw Jake stumble ahead of me. A root had wrapped around his ankle, tightening like a snake. I grabbed his arm, pulled with all my strength. The root released him with a wet snap. We kept running, but Marcus wasn't with us. I looked back. He was standing at the edge of the circle, transfixed, staring at the figures, not moving, not breathing, just staring. "Marcus," I shouted, my voice hoarse. "Marcus." He didn't respond, didn't even blink. He took one step forward, then another, slowly, deliberately, walking back toward the clearing, toward the altar, toward the figures with their empty eyes and horrible smiles. "Marcus, no." But he kept walking, like he couldn't hear me, like nothing existed except whatever he was seeing in that clearing. He entered the circle. The figures surrounded him, dozens of them, closing in. I saw his face change, saw his eyes go empty, unfocused, saw that horrible smile spread across his face. Then the forest swallowed them all. The trees closed in, branches interlocking, roots rising, until the clearing was gone, hidden, as if it had never existed. We ran until we couldn't breathe, ran until our legs gave out, ran until we burst out of the tree line and collapsed on the dirt road near our vehicles. Gasping, sobbing, shaking, 3 of us made it out. Sarah, Jake, and me. Marcus didn't. Tom and Rachel didn't. We tried to explain to the authorities, showed them where we'd gone. They sent a search team, 20 people, dogs, helicopters. They found nothing. No bodies, no clearing, no altar, no Marcus, no Tom, no Rachel. The official report said our team members got disoriented and died of exposure, that the stress of the search had caused us to hallucinate, that there was no supernatural explanation. But I know the truth. And 3 weeks later, something happened that confirmed it. I received a text message from Marcus's phone. The forest is growing. It's spreading. Soon it will reach the town, and when it does, everyone will hear the whispers. Everyone will come home. Join us, David. It's beautiful here. We're all so happy. I looked out my window. In my backyard, where there had been nothing but grass the day before, a pine tree had started growing. Small, young, but already twisting as it grew, already forming a spiral. And at night, when the house is quiet, I can hear it, whispering, whisper, faint, persistent. David, David, come home. We're waiting. The old man was wrong about one thing. The altar wasn't cursed. It was a seal, a prison. And the loggers in 1952 didn't just cut down trees. They released something that had been trapped there for thousands of years. Something ancient, something hungry, something that's been growing ever since. Spreading, reaching, waiting. If you live anywhere near the Pacific Northwest, I'm begging you, check your yard, check the parks, check the forests around your home. If you see a tree growing in a spiral, run. Don't try to cut it down. Don't try to understand it. Just run. And whatever you do, don't listen to the whispers. Don't go into the whispering pines. Because once the forest knows your name, it never forgets. It never stops calling. And eventually, everyone answers. This is David Carter, and this is my warning. The forest is coming. It's spreading, and it's hungry. So very, very hungry.